Thank you so much, Debbie, for joining us here today. Debbie is here to talk about PlanRight, the simple, smart way to plan your business. And she's told me that not to second guess how much work your business can take on. Get full visibility of your scheduling and future planning confidently with PlanRight, a powerful add-on for WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager. And I know that this is a conversation that's constantly happening in the forums about capacity planning. So really looking forward to hearing more about your solution and how we as accountants and bookkeepers in practice can use it. So I would like to hand over to you, Debbie.
Awesome. Thank you very much to Heather and her mini robots for this opportunity to present PlanRight today. So I am just going to share my screen and get the presentation going. So hopefully that presentation is now showing on screen.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Cool. So job scheduling and capacity planning done right. That is PlanRight. We all know businesses are embracing cloud software, but one thing we've found is job scheduling is still being done on an ad hoc or manual basis. Often it's done in your head, on a whiteboard, done in Excel, with no tie back to the job management system. So everyone wants to scale their business, provide better service, be more profitable, but the problem is lack of visibility of scheduling. Visibility is the problem that PlanRight is here to solve. PlanRight gives a fresh perspective on scheduling and capacity planning. You get full visibility of who's doing what, when, and it's real time. So the data is auto-synced from your job management system. It's adaptable. Schedules change all the time. Staff call in sick, priorities change. PlanRight's easy to update. It's simple to use, efficient drag and drop functionality, and it improves communications across team and managers. So WFM XPM, that's WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager. It's a powerful product, but customers want to see scheduling and capacity. So PlanRight is the perfect app stack for that, with two-way syncing between those products. PlanRight, who it works well for. Anyone using XPM or WorkFlowMax and needing more visibility of scheduling. It's professional services, time-based businesses, capacity-constrained resources, teams generally of 5 or more staff, creatives, engineers, architects, accountants are common industries. Who it's not ideal for. Businesses not using WorkFlowMax or Xero Practice Manager, businesses who set up jobs without tasks, rostering-based businesses, and businesses with fewer than 5 staff because they often manage their scheduling in their own head. So as mentioned, PlanRight only works with integration from WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager. There are 2 sync modes to sync data between those products into PlanRight. One is when you've got no planning in WorkFlowMax. You may have set up your jobs and tasks and hours in WorkFlowMax, and then you use PlanRight to allocate them to staff and to schedule dates. The second option is where you have done planning in WorkFlowMax. You've set up jobs, tasks, and hours, but you also schedule those tasks and assign them to people. PlanRight can then visualize that scheduling that you've already done in WorkFlowMax. Now, this is a really detailed screen, but it is how the data integrates between WorkFlowMax, Xero Practice Manager, and PlanRight. Now, the blue at the top is the data from Workflow, and it's similar in both sync modes. The plan in WorkFlowMax sync mode, you have more data that flows back. So that's in the orange, more data flows back to WorkFlowMax. The key difference here is that schedule dates and staff come from WorkFlowMax, and you visualize and change that in PlanRight, and then schedule data pushes back to WorkFlowMax. That's the plan in WorkFlowMax mode. There are some limitations on the API of the plan in WorkFlowMax mode, so a key understanding of a business needs are required before deciding what is the best sync mode. The setup process for PlanRight. connect with XPM WorkFlowMax. Choose the sync mode. Now, this is a key decision, as I outlined before. You can't swap between sync modes. You can only, to change, you'd need to set up a new organization. Next part of the setup process is your client's jobs and tasks sync from XPM WorkFlowMax, and then they're available for scheduling and editing in PlanRight. So it's quite a simple setup process, but the bulk of the time in setup is often doing your initial scheduling, because that can take a little bit of time depending on how many jobs and tasks you may have. So now I'm going to jump into a demo of PlanRight. I just stop sharing that screen and share my PlanRight screen. So hopefully you can all see PlanRight on the screen now. And
yes, we can.
Brilliant. Thanks, Heather. So what we're looking at here is the dashboard schedule for PlanRight. This is the main scheduling screen in PlanRight. And you can see it's calendar across the top. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, staff down the left-hand side, and you've got task blocks of work that have been scheduled in the middle. Each of these task blocks has a start date, an end date, and an hours of effort associated with them. You can scroll forward as far as you like into the future, scroll back to the past, and there's always a quick go to today button that jumps you back to today, and today's highlighted in blue there, Tuesday the 25th. To get scheduling data, to get data onto the schedule in the Plan and PlanRight mode, which is where you do all your scheduling within PlanRight, you would use this Plan Job button. This is a list of all the jobs that sync through from WorkFlowMax or Xero Practice Manager. You can start typing to filter by job name, job number, or client. And I will now select this job. This job is called Store Signage. It's job number 13, and its client is BTIP Records. I have 6 colored blocks at the top, and that represents 6 tasks from the job in WorkFlowMax. I have a schedule view down the bottom, and to do my scheduling, I simply grab a task from up here and drop it down to a person. I then give it an hours of effort. I'm going to say that task got 10 hours of effort. I can then grab that a different task and drop it to a different person and give them some hours of effort as well. So as I'm doing the scheduling, we are increasing the hours allocated in blue here. So if I increase that number there to 30, that number jumps to 87. So that blue number up the top is a direct reflection of how many hours I've scheduled on this job in PlanRight. The estimated effort, the dark number, that is the estimated time from the job in WorkFlowMax. So that is like my budget hours. And then the green number is how many hours of timesheets have already been logged on this job. You'll also see you also have a capacity view when you're doing your scheduling. So under Sarah Harris for the week here, Monday the 7th to Friday the 11th, she's got a red line. If I hover over that red line, it tells me her hours are 9 hours scheduled when she's only got 7 available. So she's over scheduled, and that's why it's gone red. So if I jump forward there to the following week, it's blue, and it's because she's got 5 hours scheduled and 7 hours is her capacity. So that coloured line is a quick capacity indicator when you're doing your scheduling to know whether staff are over or under capacity. So if I can see that Sarah is over capacity, I simply grab that task and stretch it out, and I even up her capacity for that period, obviously within the constraints of a deadline of this job. So that is the scheduling within PlanRight. I'm going to exit the assign mode, and we're now viewing the dashboard schedule again, but this is an editable screen as well. So as a schedulers change, you need to update things, you can grab tasks and move them around. They can be moved between different staff, and different end dates can happen. But I wanted to jump back into this particular job to reschedule, I can double click to get back in there. Exit the assign mode again. So you're viewing your schedule here, but you can also view your schedule in a list format. This is the task list here. We get a list of the workload for each staff member that they have scheduled. So you get a list, you also get this capacity graph along the top. Again, you get the coloured indicators indicating they're over or under capacity for those days. And you can hover over it to tell you what specifically their capacity is. So that's the list view. You also get a forecast report. Now, this is more of a managerial tool for decision making. And you can choose how you want to report, whether it's weeks across the top or months, jobs down the left or staff, and hours in the middle or dollars. What this is saying is that Brad Pitt for the month of June has got 51 hours of work scheduled, 13 for July. And if I wanted to know what makes up those specific hours, I use the drop down and I can see the specific jobs and tasks and hours that make up his time. So this forecast report is exportable to PDF and CSV. So I've showed you how to get data onto the schedule. I've also showed you 3 different ways to view that schedule information. And now I'm going to jump into the settings area. So the settings area and users, this is where we define the staff working hours and productive percentage. That's what drives their available capacity. We also determine the access level that they have into PlanRight. And we can also create some groups here. Now, I'm just going to jump to the groups area first. So these groups are custom groups. You can create your own group name and group options. So you customize your groups, and then you jump back to users and you add users to those groups. So I can say that Bob Stone is part of the Christchurch location, but he's actually also part of the Auckland location. And what we do with those groups is when we are back on our dashboard schedule, we can filter by those groups. So there's a little button here saying show all filters. And I can go, just show me all of the team that are in Auckland. And it just reduces down to show me the various options that I've chosen there for groupings. So that is a way for big teams to be able to filter down and group your teams so that you're only viewing the information you need and being able to move data, move tasks between those staff. So you can have as many custom groups as you like, and staff can be part of as many groups as you like as well. So that gives you the ability to sort of slice and dice the information that you're presenting. The filters are sticky. So if you do apply a filter and then you leave the page, you come back and it does still apply. So just bear that one in mind. So once you've done your scheduling, staff can also use PlanRight to do a bit of task management themselves. So they may view what workload they've got on for a period of time, but they also may want to manage that workload. And so they can hover over a task and they get a bit more information about that task. They can see the client, the job, the task, the hours and how many timesheet hours may have been logged on that. And if I hit update, I can do some task management. I can log time. I'm not going to log 20 hours of time. Maybe if I log 8 hours today and I say, this is what I did, that note becomes my timesheet narration, and that pushes through to WorkFlowMax as a timesheet. I can also do some status management of tasks within PlanRight. This is different to WorkFlowMax or Xero Practice Manager's job states. These are task states, so they're unique to PlanRight. I can set myself a reminder. I can repeat a task, and I can also reschedule a task using calendar dates here rather than dragging and dropping on the screen. So a little bit of task management you can do in there. We also have a few other screens. So I've shown you at the moment, I've shown you the sort of daily planning view, but if I select a view of a week, I can click on an individual day, like Wednesday the 26th. I can actually schedule down to the quarter hour if I wanted to schedule hourly on that day. So Wednesday the 26th, and I can view up to 5 days at one time and scheduling down to the quarter hour. So that is our daily scheduling. We also have a monthly view. With that monthly view, we get you get all the same tabs as the weekly planning, but you also get this extra monthly tab here, which is an individual staff member's own workload for the month, so that again they can sort of manage their workload through a month. You have the definition of fixed workload and variable workload. They see the tasks they've got on and they can traffic those tasks through various states. And they also get their capacity graph at the top. So that's an additional page in the monthly view. And you also get the annual planner in this monthly view. And this gives the ability to move workload around between months. So if you're actually pulling this is a task block here, and you can actually reschedule that between months, and the capacity across the months updates across the top there. So that is an extra page in that monthly planning view. And then so I've just shown you through the core functionality of PlanRight, but we do have some premium features, and there's 3 of them, and I'm not going to demo them, but I'm just going to show you them in our help screens. So the first one is duplicating jobs. So we all know that WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager, you can copy a job, but if you've got a lot of jobs to copy in one go, you can use this premium functionality of PlanRight, where it copies your WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager jobs in bulk. So it is quite a unique feature, and useful if you do copy forward a lot of jobs in WorkFlowMax and Xero Practice Manager. The second premium functionality is called Skills Matrix, and it is where you may have a large size team and the people doing the workflow scheduling don't necessarily know everyone's skill set. So the individuals define their own skill set. So that my skills, I'm an expert in graphic design, I'm a developing at packaging design. They define their own skill sets, and then the workflow schedulers can actually filter by those skill groups in PlanRight when they're doing the scheduling. And the third functionality is a bookings feature. It creates a booking from a job from WorkFlowMax, and then gives the ability to give someone a run sheet for the day of bookings of where they may need to be for the specific day within, and so that run sheet is within PlanRight itself. It's not exported out to anywhere. So yeah, that is a fairly quick summary of PlanRight. And now I'm happy to jump back to you, Heather, and take some questions, I guess.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing that. Really appreciate that. Now, if people do have any questions, please feel free to jump on or put them in the chat area. If you do have any questions, I've got the chat area open somewhere. Where is it? There. I was interested in terms of, you mentioned the skills grouping area. Would you be able to put in things like certifications if they had them, and thus would they be restricted from being allocated to something that required a particular type of certification or required that sort of particular level of knowledge?
Yes, so the skills groups can be custom defined. So you define what skill group you create and what the categories are, and then the staff allocate themselves to those categories. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't have a certification and you needed someone to have that certification, you would filter, like the staff would allocate themselves to that group or not, and then you would be able to filter and go exclude everybody who doesn't have that certification, and I can only allocate work to people that do.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you for sharing that. I was also wondering whether using the Capacity Planner tool, would there be alerts coming out to the managers saying it's probably about time you need to employ new staff?
So we don't have those sort of notifications in PlanRight as such. We have job start and due notifications. And in terms of capacity, no, it would be a visual using our forecast report to see where the capacity constraints are and making a decision on resourcing around that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I was wondering, does anyone else have any questions? Nicole, did you? Yep, go for it, Nicole.
I've got 2 questions. In your demo, you showed you were grouping by location, where I'm assuming the administrator controlled who was in which group. Could you do the same sort of thing for skills, where the administrator is controlling who's in what group, rather than relying on staff to decide how clever they are?
Yes, absolutely. So you can create your own custom groups, and that might be a skills group, and then the administrator defines the people as part of those groups. Whereas obviously that premium feature I showed you was where the staff define themselves as part of that group. Yes.
And my other question is quite important for me. At the moment, you integrate with XPM and WorkFlowMax. Are you considering integrating with something else?
Absolutely, and also considering becoming a standalone product as well, but that will come in time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your questions, Nicole. Now, I wondered, would anyone else like to jump on and ask any questions or pop them in the chat area? No, there you go. It looks like you've answered all the questions. It's quite a sort of a straightforward solution, but if anyone is listening in who does have any questions, please jump in and ask them. How can people get in contact with you, Debbie?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just go back to the screen.
Excellent. Excellent. So there's a 14-day free trial with your own data. And I think at one stage you said you could not swap between the syncs. So you could potentially sync it up to one solution and see how it goes for you. And if that didn't work out, you, I guess, try it on the, well, if that wasn't, or you wanted to see both options, you go on there. But
yeah, absolutely. We often have trialists who sign up for both sync options at the same time, and they get 14 days of free trial on both. Or even, at the end of the 14 days, they swap to the other one and they get another 14 days. So that's not a problem to trial out both those sync options.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it just depends on which one they're working more in and where they're focusing their time.
Yeah, it's the key difference is when a business may have already done a lot of scheduling within WorkFlowMax and they want to visualize that, but then they want to see it back in WorkFlowMax as well. So they might be running reporting off some of their task schedule dates and things. And so they need that reporting, they need that data back in WorkFlowMax as well. So that's a key decision point there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you, did you have control over choosing the colors?
So the colors, you don't have control over it. They are auto selected, but you can choose whether the colors are defined by clients, by jobs, by tasks.
Nicole said she wants them all the shades of red. No, Nicole, you can get a special themed version for the Nicole themed version. Oh, well, if I'll just put one more call out for any questions that anyone may have, if anyone wants to jump in. Otherwise, no, it doesn't look like it. But thank you so much, Debbie, for jumping on and showing us that. We really appreciate it. Really enjoyed learning about that, and I'm sure it will be of benefit to a number of people out there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Heather, for hosting today. And yeah, I mean, anyone that does sign up for a free trial, I often am in touch with trialists throughout their trial, and I run demos and question and answer sessions throughout the trial as well. So we can get more specific around clients and things like that then.
Absolutely, absolutely. So please reach out to Debbie if you're interested.